everyone. How are you doing? Hi everybody. I hope the lighting is okay. I forgot to put some extra lighting in here and stuff like that. So I hope I don't get too dark and stuff like that. But I think it looks okay. And so I hope everyone is doing good. Hey Sassy, hi Needlepoint, Cheryl. How are you guys? Hey Renee, hey Robin, how you doing? Hey Iris, how are you? This Friday, one of the things that I wanted to do, is I wanted to talk about custom work. I did a live earlier this week because I had two fellow crafters that reached out to me pretty upset about some things that happened that they experienced. Hey Ozzy, how you doing? And I wanted to talk to you guys about custom work. Okay, you know embroidery is very very it's a craft that's so unique. It's unique because it's kind of like you can customize anything, right? Anything that somebody can imagine, um, you can practically do it. Okay, of course, embroidery does have some type of limitations and stuff like that, but the thing is that it's a really neat thing that you can really do so much with, right? But because of that, so a lot of times people will approach you and they ask a lot about customized items, right? And it can really sometimes put you in a little pickle. Okay. Now I wanted to talk to you about two types. All right. There's personalized and then customized. Okay. Now it's two separate. All right. And what I'm really wanting to talk to you guys mostly about is the customized portion. All right. Personalized is when you already have a design that's already done, and all you really have to do is just add or change the name of the actual design, right? So it's kind of like if you look at my Etsy shop and I have all these kitchen towels, right? I have some that just say La Cocina de Abuela, right? And I just sell those as is. And then I have personalized kitchen towels where you can put La Cocina de Jeanette, right? So what I would do in those situations is I would just bring up that design and then I would just modify the name and I would just put whatever person's name is in there, right? So that's on the personalized side. Now, what is pretty tricky, okay, for a lot of folks that do different crafts and especially embroidery is the customized side. Now, when I'm talking customized, I'm talking about doing something that is totally unique from something that you have on hand. I'll give you an example of that. Okay, I am now currently working on a customized order for dinner napkins. Now, the reason why this is customized is because it's not, I do dinner napkins. However, though the design that the customer wants, it's not one of the designs that I have available in my shop. It's a design that she developed herself because she's an artist, and she's created that file. So what I have to do is take that design that she gives me. I have to work with a digitizer and have that file transferred to a digitized file for the machine to read. And then I have to test out the stitch. And I have to work with the customer to make sure that the colors are right and that the image that she gave me in their artwork actually transforms correctly the way she wants it on the dinner napkin. Okay, that's what I'm talking about when I mean customized. I'm talking about something that is totally unique. It's not something that you can just buy it and stuff like that. You can't just go on any embroidery website and just say, oh, okay, let me just buy this file and then I could buy another file. I'm not talking about, merging files or anything like that. I'm talking about unique stuff that you have to do from scratch. Okay. So that kind of work can be very, very tricky. And one of the things that I really tell people that you need to think about when you are taking customized work is there are several things that need to go through your mind. Okay. First of all, you have to make sure that you're capable of actually doing that. Okay. You also have to think about the time. Doing customized work takes more time from you than doing the regular embroidery that you do, like for personalized items, right? For personalized items, it's pretty easy. You've probably done it a dozen times. You already know that that design is probably going to take you 30 to 40 minutes to stitch out. All you probably have to do is probably take what, 2 or 3 minutes maybe to change your name, or add a name and stuff. So, that's like, a given. You kind of already know the time, how time consuming those items are. But when we're talking about customized, that's a whole different ballgame. Okay. First of all, let's talk about the whole process from start to finish. Okay, like what I'm doing now with the customer with the dinner napkins. Okay, first of all, I have to talk with that person, right? And I have to get a feel for what is it that they're looking for. They have to provide the artwork. I have to look at that artwork. And then I also have to have a conversation with the digitizer to see, is this something feasible to do? You got to remember too that not everything can be embroidered or will look right if it's embroidered. Okay. A lot of people sometimes have that issue when they're doing like pictures of folks, right? If you have a photograph of someone and you go to a digitizer, a lot of times that's going to really cost a lot of money for the simple fact that there is so many details that go into a photograph that if you want the embroidery to look exactly like the photograph, you're talking about thousands and thousands of stitches, right? So, and the embroidery file could be very dense. So you're probably going to be looking at maybe using 60 weight thread, which is thinner than the regular 40 weight, and probably using a 65 9 needle, right? So, it's just stuff that you have to think about. So when you look at the design, you have to really have that conversation with the digitizer, talk about the type of the weight of the thread that should be used for that design. And the digitizer will also let you know how costly that image is going to be to have it transferred over to an embroidery file. Okay. Now, the other thing that we need to think about now, while we're talking about the process, let's also talk about, at the same time, parallel to the process, let's talk about the cost. Okay. We already talked about, I mentioned to you about how you have to spend time talking to the customer and you got to spend time talking to the digitizer. Okay. That's already time. Okay. That's already time that you're spending, right? Now, when you talk with the digitizer is going to give you a dollar amount of how much that image is going to cost in order for you to transfer it to an embroidery. So there goes another dollar figure too. Okay, so think about your time and now think about the cost of the embroidery file. Okay, then you're going to have to, after get that embroidery file, you have to test stitch it. And when you test stitch it, I highly recommend, okay, which that's the phase that I'm in right now. I got my embroidery file today, and what I'm going to be doing is I am going to be loading it in my in Brilliance. I'm going to be playing around with the colors and stuff like that to see the color threads that I have, and if I, to try to match up the colors as close as possible to the picture that they provided me. So that's time, okay? Then I'm going to be reaching out to the customer. I'm going to be showing them this is what the image right now, the embroidery file, how it looks on the screen with the colors that I selected. I'm sure there's going to be some back and forward, okay, where the customer's probably going to say, oh, I don't like this file, or I don't. First of all, I hope they like the file because I know I like it. I think the digitizer did a fabulous job. I doubt very highly that the customer is going to be upset about the file or anything. If anything, I think they're going to be very excited. But there may be a little bit of back and forward on the color, right? The color of the thread. Now, also sometimes when you are looking at an image in Brilliance or whatever embroidery software you're looking at, sometimes you may want to do probably a video conference or a meetup with the customer. Okay, now with the pandemic, of course, you're probably not going to do much of a meetup, but you'll probably do a video conference and stuff, and probably hold up some of the thread, because sometimes what you see on the screen and what you actually see when you're holding the thread, the colors can be a little off, right? So it depends how important it is for the colors to be right. My guess with this particular project is pretty important to the customer, because these are napkins that I believe she wants to be heirloom dinner napkins that she wants to pass down to her family. And I noticed that she has spent a lot of time in her artwork. So I know that that's going to mean a lot to her. So it's going to, I know it's going to be a process. It's going to be a lot of me and her discussing the different colors and the thread. And I probably most likely will do a couple of stitch outs just to make sure that the customer is happy with how the item, the design is going to look. The other thing that you need to think about also when it comes to custom work is sometimes you have to look at the material, okay? Sometimes folks will want a particular material with their design, and it's probably not a material that you carry. You have to think about, will you be able to work with that actual fabric? Would you be able to get a couple of extra pieces in order for you to practice embroidering on? I know with me, I was working with a customer before, and they had purchased velvet. Velvet seems like a very thick fabric. I didn't have any problems with embroidering on velvet at all, but I did get a little piece of it, and I got to play around with it a little bit, and I actually found that I kind of love velvet. Now I'm into the velvet, so I'm going to be probably going to the store buying more velvet just so I can embroider, especially this color. I love this color. It's like a dirty kind of, I don't know, like a grayish blue. It's a beautiful color. I think this is like a new color that's coming out, and people are going crazy over it. So anyway, but I got off track. So anyway, fabrics. Okay, so think about the material that folks are want you to embroider in. So these are all the things that has to go through your mind as you are taking that custom order. Okay, now the thing that is really hard when you're talking about customs orders is a lot of times there are things that happen during a custom order that usually doesn't happen when you're doing a personalization order. Okay, when you have something on Etsy that's personalized, a lot of times the design is already done, the colors are already selected. The only thing the person is saying is, I just want you to put the name John, Joe, or Linda, whatever, on that shirt or the blanket or whatever, right? That's only really discussion, if any discussion at all, any type of communication exchange that actually really just happens, right? People place their order and say, this is the name I want, and it's done. When a customized order, there's going to be a lot of communication, not just between you and the customer, but you and a digitizer. So you have to make sure that you are very, very clear, and you have to make sure that expectations are set up front, okay? What I mean by expectations is be very honest about how you feel about it, okay? If you feel very confident that this is something that you can accomplish without a snag, then you're good, okay? However, though, if you feel that this is something that is really new to you, okay, but you want the challenge. However, let's say, for example, you've never embroidered on that particular fabric. Be open about it and say, hey, I really want to do this and stuff. However, I don't have experience in embroidering on velvet, or embroidering on silk or linen, that type of thin linen and stuff like that. If you are very honest and very upfront, and just let them know, hey, could you just provide me a sample of the material, or let me know where I can get a sample of that material so that I can see if it's something that I can handle, that makes things so much easier, okay? If you are very upfront and honest, okay? Now, the complications come in is when you don't do that, okay? Because what happens is you're sitting there and the customer is saying, I want this, I want that. They give you all the supplies, the fabrics and everything, and you're just going, and then all of a sudden when you start to work on the project and it doesn't go as successful, then that's when the issues really can come in, and it can really be a bad experience, not just for you as the embroiderer, but also as from the customer's perspective as well. Because you got to remember, they have in their mind a vision of what they want their end product to be. Okay. So if you have that communication with them and you're very, very honest with them from the very beginning, and you say, hey, I'm not sure or whatever, you kind of, it's like you're setting the expectation, so the customer kind of knows, right, that you're willing to try and stuff like that. The other thing that I find that's very helpful, that really makes the situation a lot better experience for not just the embroiderer but for the customer as well, is the openness of that communication. Okay, is the consistent throughout the whole project. I'm not talking about you just take the project and say, okay, good, and then you don't talk to the customer for 2 weeks, and then all of a sudden you show up. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about when you first meet with the customer and you're taking their order, and you keep them informed through the entire process of how things are going. Send them pics and let them know if they are part of the process. Trust me, if there's any type of issue during that process, they're going to speak up right from the get-go. And then what's going to happen is it really saves you a lot of time and effort, because you get to correct things right away and you don't have to worry. You know what I'm saying? At the very end, the customer gets exactly what they want, and at the same time, you're happy because you know that you pulled out a good product. Okay. Now, the thing that I also want to discuss is the pricing. Okay. Now, you got to remember, because custom work is more involved, okay, do not sell yourself short. Okay. And unfortunately, I think that's what really happened with 2 of the crafters that I had spoken to last week. Custom work is fun to do. It is very challenging, and I know, me personally, I like doing that. However, though, you have to make sure that you don't sell yourself short. You have to take all those things that I just mentioned to you into consideration. Okay, think about your time. Think about the cost of digitizing that file. Okay, make sure those things are included in your price. Okay, set those expectations up front. And I really emphasize, this is how I work. Okay, a lot of people, they have different ways. Okay, some people say, I'll just take 50% up front. No, I want 100% up front, and that's just how I do it. Okay, I mean, if I don't get 100% of the cost of the item, then the machine doesn't turn on. That's just how I do it. That's how I roll. And the thing is that's just how it works for me. Okay. I haven't had a problem with any of my stuff. So, and some people will say, well, Jeanette, how come you want the 100% and not the 50? Okay, well, I'm going to tell you why. Okay, I'm going to be very blunt. People are shady. Okay, people out there are shady. Okay, sometimes they're, you want to believe that everybody out there is honest, but sometimes they're not. Okay, one of the folks that I talked to this week, they worked on the custom order. They got the 50. When the person came to pick it up, didn't want to pay the other 50. So I was just like, really? So it's like, what do you do when you have something so custom in your possession? Okay, it's not like you can resell it. Okay, so to me, it's something that I just demand all the money up front. Okay, that's just how I roll. All right, I will not take anything less. So to me, that's just how I do things. So somebody calling, please decline that. I'll just have to call him back later, hopefully, or voicemail. Okay, so anyway, but that's just how I roll, and that's just how I do it. You have to do the full payment up front, and let them know the price up front. A lot of times too, this is something that you have to be careful with. Sometimes when you meet with folks, right, they'll throw something at you, and I don't mean like they throw it like they throw it at you. You know what I mean? What I'm saying is they bring it to you, okay? And they just show it to you right away, and then right away they want a price. They want a price like right that minute. I never give it to them up front. Okay. What I do is I look at it and I tell them I have to do some research before I can tell you how much that's going to cost. Just tell them that. Okay. Just say I have to research it. And that's it. The reason why I say that is never, ever, ever give a price right up front is because, first of all, you really don't know by just looking at something how much work is going to be involved. Remember, this is a full custom job, which means that you're going to have a discussion with the digitizer. Now, I'm sure that like with me, I have a good working relationship with my digitizer, and I have a ballpark. I don't know if I said that right. Ballpark. Well, I have an idea, okay, of what he usually charges for some designs. But the thing is, some designs, if it has more details, the price is going to go up. You got to remember too that digitizers they work really hard, okay? It is not very easy. You're talking about thousands and thousands of stitches, and for them to come up with a good design, that takes work and it takes their time. So they're not going to get any type of, you can't just give them something and every design they're going to be like, oh yeah, it's $5, $5, $5. They're not going to say $5 all the time. Depending on the details on that design, that's how they're going to be pricing the file for the digital file. So you may look at something and think that it's easy, okay? And then when you go to the digitizer, they're going to say, no, okay, well, that's going to cost an extra $10, okay? Then you just messed yourself up because you went and you already gave the customer a price. You go back to that customer and say, well, you know what? I spoke to the digitizer. I know I told you this price, but now I'm going to have to up it another $15. Then all of a sudden it can get kind of, people could start feeling some kind of way. You know what I mean? So you want to avoid that, So what I usually do is when people approach it, because they do it all the time, they come and right away they're like, oh, Jeanette, I need this and I want to know how much this is going to cost. Never give them a price up front. I always tell them, okay, send me that info, send me the email and stuff. Can you send me that design and stuff and let me get back to you? Give me at least 2 days for me to get back to you and I can tell you exactly. And then at the same time, when I'm having that conversation with them, I try to find out, well, what kind of fabric? How big do you want it? Because think about it, that's the type of information you should be giving your digitizer too. Because if you are creating something, and let's say it's going to be on very thin fabric, okay? When you give a digitizer a design, you should be able to give that information to the digitizer because that helps them, okay? They're going to know, are you going to use a 40 weight thread? Okay, if like, let's say a logo, right? I'm giving a logo and I know it's going to be on very thin fabric, like the one that I did for the dog breeder, right? Very thin fabric. So I went and I told him, I said, hey, it's going to be on very thin fabric and this is the logo. I want to use 60 weight thread and I want to use the 65-9 needle. Okay. Tell the digitizer that. Tell them I'm going to be doing it on velvet. I'm going to be doing it on cotton, linen, whatever it is, because that helps them when they are creating your design. Okay. They'll digitize it so that you can, it'll come out good with the right weight and the right needle. And sometimes too, if you tell them the type of fabric and then you tell them, hey, I want to do linen and I'm going to use 40 weight. I've had digitizers come to me and go, no, Jeanette, you can't use 40 weight and they'll explain to me and say if that design is too dense, you use 40 weight, it's going to crunch up, it's going to pucker up. You're going to have to get 60 weight thread, so all that, when people approach you at first and then they say, hey, I want you to do this, you really sometimes don't know all that. You got to remember, I'm a machinist, Okay, I am the one that likes to take the items and I do very little modifications to embroidery files. My thing is more working on the machine, working with the product on the machine. Okay, the digitizer, that's not my forte. Okay, but the thing is, I really don't know how much that digitizing file is going to cost. And at the same time, I don't know if it's going to be overcomplicated or not. All right. So that's why I always like to just tell them, I'll get back to you with 2 days. Don't give them that stuff up front, because when you do that, you can end up messing yourself up. Okay. Remember, you're not working for free. Okay. So that's just my take on it. So that's something that I always do. Okay. Um, the other thing, let me see, I already talked about handling the money. Um, think about the time. Think about the time. Think about the material. If they come to you with very unique material, always make sure that you know where they got it from, just in case you have to replace it. Okay. And if it is something that is extremely unique, then I don't know. I mean, I ain't gonna say don't do it. I did it. I remember when I first started digitizing, my neighbor had a baseball hat, and it was from the Air Force, right? I don't think he retired Air Force, but he served in the Air Force, right? And he had a unique Air Force baseball hat. And he gave me these numbers, and I think the numbers represented the units that he served with, right? And he told me, hey, Jeanette, I want you to embroider the numbers on the baseball hat. Now, let me tell you something. First, I was kind of like, oh, okay, I could do it. And I didn't have the big machines. I had the SC1900, okay? And I ain't gonna lie to you, okay? By the time I was finished embroidering that baseball hat, I thought I was going to have a heart attack. Okay. I thought I was going to drop right there. I mean, I never sweat so much in my life. I mean, I slowed down the speed of that embroidery machine. I mean, I think we were probably doing 10 stitches per minute, because I was there holding that hat and sweating bullets. I mean, I sweat in places I didn't even know it was possible to sweat. Okay. And I'm going to be honest with you. I finished the hat, and when I gave it to him, he was happy. I was okay with it. I was happy too. But I am going to tell you the amount of stress that I have put myself in doing that baseball hat. I was like, oh, I can never do that again. I'm serious. I will have a very short life if I have to go through that type of fear again, because this is what got, and I'm gonna tell you why. This was a very unique baseball hat, because I asked him, where can I get a replacement? He said, oh, you can't get a replacement. And I was kind of like, what do you mean? He goes, no, I guess apparently it was a baseball hat that was created and given to a certain unit. And it was not for sale. Can't find it anywhere, museum, nowhere. And so I took it, and I told him up front and said, oh my God, I don't feel comfortable, because he told me how unique it was, right? So right away, I was kind of like, oh, and I was like, well, I was like, okay, so, I just started, I mean, I don't feel comfortable. And I don't know, he has so much confidence in me. He was like, do it, just do it. You'll do great. I know you're going to do great. It's fine. It's fine. And, he wouldn't take no for an answer. So because he wouldn't take no for an answer, I was kind of like, okay. So I came up here, and I was sitting, and I was just like, oh my God, because, he's my neighbor. So all I kept thinking was, I mess up this man's hat. Okay. And every time, our garages face each other. So every time I open up my garage, see him, he might be looking at me going, that's that lady that messed up my hat. So I was just like, oh my God. So it was terrible. I'm telling you, it was terrible. I mean, I can't do it anymore. I just can't. I don't think I would be able to do that again. So anyway, if you have the stomach for it, you can handle it, then that's fine. But me, I'm telling you, I thought I was gonna drop. Okay, when the last number finally had stitched, I wanted to fall out on that floor because I was just like, oh my God. I mean, I had to take a shower and I mean, it was bad. It was bad. I was just like, God. It was like, oh. So I was like, I will never, me personally, I won't do it again. Okay. I will not do it again. I did have another lady in the neighborhood. She said, hey, I have these old dinner napkins and I would like to get them embroidered with the initial. I said, absolutely not. I was like, nope. I guess those dinner napkins were in her family for 20 years or something like that. I don't know. It was a very old, dinner napkin, something that was passed down. And she wanted to get them embroidered. I said, no. I told her, I will not touch it because if something happens, I can't replace it. And I don't want to be responsible for messing that up. And she understood it and she respected that, and then I just told her, I can't. Consciously, I can't, and then I even told her, I said, I did that once with a baseball hat and I can't do it again because I was like, I mean, I told my husband, I was like, I thought I was going to have a heart attack. Could you imagine if something happened? I mean, it would have been terrible. Even though I know he said it was okay, it just would have bothered me. So anyway, my whole thing is when it comes to custom work, get all the information out there. Make sure that you fully understand what the customer wants. Make sure that you understand the material and everything, that is something that you can replace or something like that. You know what I mean? You got to set those expectations up front also. I mean, you have to. Custom work to me, and I'm going to be honest, I kind of like the custom work. I find that more rewarding because it is more challenging. It's more challenging because you're not doing the same thing over and over and over again. You're talking about something that is brand new, unique, and you get to work with a digitizer, and then at the same time, you get to talk to the customer. And to me, it's just more rewarding in the end because when they come with an idea, right, and then you work with the digitizer and you it's like you take their idea and you're making it a reality. So I just find that very rewarding. Okay. Now, however, as rewarding as it is, it's very costly. Okay. So I do let the customer know upfront, this is not going to be cheap. Okay. And I always tell them, I say, I have to run my numbers. Okay. Because I know that this is going to take some time. Also, time. Let's talk about the time, okay? When you're doing personalization work, a lot of times what you're doing is you're taking designs that you already have, you're putting them in, right? You already said that. We already know the time that you're going to invest in those type of items, okay? Because you've already invested a lot of that time up front. You created your design, right? So a lot of times it's just a reuse of a design that's already been done. And it's just really mainly just taking the product, hooping it and stitching it, right? Packaging it up and send it out. When it comes to customization, the time is different, okay? You have to think about the time of you having that discussion from the very beginning of the project to the very end. Okay, it's kind of like project management 101, right? So it's kind of like, you have to gather all your requirements. You got to make sure that you have an understanding. You also have to make sure that you have a sign off, okay? And to me, the sign off is my invoice, okay? A lot of times some people have some kind of an agreement, right? Where they work with the customer and they'll say, here's an agreement, and they list out a whole bunch of stuff. Well, I kind of, in a way, do the same thing, but what I do is I use an invoice, okay? In the invoice is where I lay out all the details of what's going to happen, and so that all the expectations between the customer and me are laid out, and then we have a full understanding of what's going to happen through the whole entire process. Okay. For instance, I will actually put in there the time that I believe the whole process is going to take. Okay. And I kind of calculate my time in there. At the same time, I talk about the thread that I'm going to use, the fonts, the style of font, the type of thread, 40, 60, the needles that I'm going to use. I also put in the fee for digitizing, okay? Because remember, when you get an image and you go to get it digitized, it's not free, okay? The person's not going to digitize it for free. So there's going to be cost involved in that, okay? So a lot of times what I do is I try to, I say, okay, how much is the cost? I include the cost of digitizing that file in the invoice, okay? And then also then I go ahead and I calculate my time along with materials, the type of threads, the stabilizers that I'm going to use and everything. And then what I have to do is I have to figure out what's a good price to give them, okay? And I also have to talk, when you're talking about the time, depending on what it is that they want, that's also going to determine how much time you're going to spend in the actual development of the end products that you're going to deliver to them. Okay. For instance, you have the time from upfront where you're gathering all the requirements and everything like that, but then you have your production time, as to when you're actually, gathering the requirements, designing it, you have to test it out. You have to get a final decision, which means that after you have got the requirements and then you went and you talked about, you got your digitizing file, you're going to test it out. You're going to talk about colors and all that kind of stuff, the type of thread and everything. Then you have to have a sign off. Okay. Then you come out and you say, okay, well, this is the final product. This is how it's going to look. This is, we're in agreement of all the type of threads that we're going to use, the color threads and stuff. This is how it's going to come out. The customers in agreement of it, make sure they sign off on it and stuff, and then or text, whatever, and then you come out and say, okay, then you start the production time. Okay, that's when you actually then go, okay, I've done all that work up front. Now it's just actually pumping out the product. Okay, so that there is time on that too. Okay, don't, to me, some people come out and say, okay, well, that's really all I have to bill for is the time. No, depending on what it is. Like, let's say the dinner napkins. Okay, the person may want 15 to 30. Okay, well, every stitch out, I have to think about, okay, well, one dinner napkin is going to take about 40 minutes to stitch. All right, so it's 40 times how many napkins. Okay, that's going to tell me the window of how long it's going to take for me to create that. Okay, so, and the thing is, you also think about this. Okay, while you're working on that order, okay, your machines are tied up. So that means that while your machines are tied up, you can't really process any other orders, okay, because you're on that order. All right, so that's another reason why it's very important for you to price it correctly, because you have an assembly line. So it's kind of like, okay, well, I have these 30 dinner napkins, right? So let's say, all right, so I'm going to put 15 on this one, 15 on that one. And let's say that the dinner napkin has more than 6 colors. If the dinner napkin has more than 6 colors, well, then that means I'm going to have color changes on this one, because this needle's six needles. I mean, this needle is 6 needles. This machine is 6 needles. And then this machine is 10. So on the 10, I'm good. I should be able to just fly by, right? Because I have all 6 colors in there, and all it is just hooping it, putting it, hooping it, and just fixing any snags that happen, right? But on my 6 needle machine, if I have color number 7, 8, and 9, then that means when it comes to that, I'm going to have to babysit this machine a little more, because I'm going to have to do color changes. So think of all of that when you're putting in your price, because that's time, okay? And at the same time, while you're working on this order, your other orders are waiting, okay? So that is also time, all right? So, think about that. So you have to really think about that. So, that's something that I really wanted to talk to you guys about, because, at the live that I did earlier this week, I really talked about the situation of, knowing your worth and your value and everything. And it was really more like, just make sure that you take care of you, okay? Because I really felt bad, because I felt like some folks got taken advantage of. And the thing is, I figured this Friday I would talk to you guys about the custom work and talk more in detail about all the involvement that is part of custom work, because you have to think of all of this when you're pricing, okay? And this is the other thing too, is, you have a talent, okay? You can take this unique, idea that a customer has, and you can turn this into a product that they want. That is a skill, okay? That is a very good skill that you have. Make sure that you are getting paid for that skill, all right? You're not, if this is how I see it, I know I'm good at what I do, okay? My products, when I pull them out, they are not, the products that I put out there are not by any means, mediocre. I don't do that. If they're gonna be mediocre, then it just doesn't leave my shop, okay? I like to make sure they're top notch. I want people to look at them and be like, wow, all right? The thing is, if you want wow, wow costs, okay? If you want mediocre, then you're gonna have to go somewhere else. But the thing is, you get, I know my mom, she always used to say, you get what you pay for, you get what you pay for. So if you go somewhere and, you buy cheap furniture, and then after a year you sit on the chair and it breaks, you get what you paid for. But if you go to a furniture store that got like good solid wood, okay, the type of furniture that will probably outlive you, like a pan. What is that? My husband loves these pans. I think they're cast iron, okay, like cast iron, pan. Cast iron pans cost money, okay? Those are very expensive. They will outlive all of us, okay? I mean, I think my great, 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 great grandchildren will be using my cast iron pans. But you get what you pay for, right? If you go to Walmart and you buy a pan that, it's okay, it's like $10 or whatever, you got a $10 pan that's probably, but the thing is that you get what you pay for, right? So if you know that your work is top quality, okay, and that's what they're looking for, top quality work, they wouldn't have a problem paying that top quality price. If they have a problem with that, then they need to go to me. This is just how I roll, okay? Then you need to go somewhere else. That if they don't mind doing it for nothing, that's them. I do. I mind. That's just how I roll and stuff. So anyway, it's just something that, just wanted to share and stuff. So I think I got everything. Let me see. Oh yeah, and I talked about the modifications. I did mention that, there's a lot of back and forward that happens with custom work. Sometimes you just have, a item, and then you just, you get it digitized. When you're having that communication with the customer, they may want to change colors and all that kind of stuff. Hey Trisha, thank you. I appreciate it. I just want you guys to think of all this stuff, because it's important. It really, 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 truly is. Okay. I'm gonna go in the chat room. I want to make sure that I answer any of your questions and stuff. Oh, Trisha, thank you so much for the super chat. I appreciate that and stuff. But I'm gonna go to the top, and if you guys have questions and stuff, please, please, please feel free to ask me. I will try to answer them as much as I can and stuff. So I see Sassy's on here, and Needlepoint and Cheryl. Hey everybody's saying hi and stuff. I see Robin and Renee. Hey Norma, how are you doing? I see Ozzy's on, Iris. Hey Yolanda, and I see Roman and Carol and Karen. The best hacen los videos en español. Yep, you're right. Tengo que hacerla. Pero el español mío a veces me sale fatal. Sometimes my Spanish ain't that good. Maybe I'll do do a half English, half Spanish and stuff. But I'm gonna tell you something, Angelis, you're gonna laugh at my Spanish because all my words come out messed up. You know that they're a mess because New Rican, and stuff. Hey Shayna, how are you? Checking in from California. I bet you the weather's nice out there. Hey Needlepoint, need the contact info for the Digitize. I tried to join the Facebook group, but I have not been able to. Oh, Needlepoint, okay. Try to join again, and I'll see if you're in as a Needlepoint. I'll make sure to add you in. Okay. Hey Doris, how are you? What's WASP? VA WASP tag? Don't know what that means. Okay. Hey Robin, how you doing? Hey Crafty Puerto Rican, how are you doing? So, hey Miss Smiles, how are you? Hey Jeanette, love your shirt. Oh, thank you. Blake was representing. So, I received my gift today. Thank you so much. I could not find you in the group, but I've been up for 24 hours. Hey, Miss Smiles. Oh, so I see that everybody's starting to get their gifts. I mailed mine yesterday, and I am working on gifts to send out actually to everybody that joined the Epster group. So I was hoping to have them mailed out by tomorrow, but I think it's going to have to wait till Monday and mail them out and stuff. But I am so happy that people are starting to get that. Did you finish your quilt for Mom? No, I did not. And I'm thinking about starting that quilt over because I'm not liking the way it came out. And it's kind of like I feel like it's not looking too professional looking. So I'm gonna probably redo it. Like in the top, I did the Mercado family. I should have did it in Spanish, going La Familia Mentalo. That's what I should have did. But I'm gonna do it, and I want to videotape it. I really do. And stuff. Hey Trisha. Hey Joni. Hey Tracy. Oh, Michelle Austin. Okay. Hey Wilma, how are you? Hey Miss Parker. Let's see. I watched a video where Miss Eve talks about how she got her injury. I cringed a lot. Went to Walgreens and bought a cyst suction. Another ease it on my rules. Yeah, Iris, yeah, that was terrible. I mean, it's the rotary cutter. I'm telling you, those rotary cutters are very, very dangerous. One of the things that I did do also, let me see. One of the things that I did for my ruler, and this seemed to have helped. They have these little grit dots. They call them grit dots. See, this is my ruler, right? And you see these little circles and stuff. They're like little grip. They have little, grip stops in here. So what you do is like when you put them down and you hold it, it kind of like snaps. Not that it snaps. It doesn't snap in its place, but it kind of prevents it from moving around on your fabric. So these kind of worked for me. And I bought a bunch of these because that did happen to me. I cut some of my skin off, but it wasn't like as bad as what happened to Miss Eve. But yeah, I hope she's doing a lot better and stuff. Let me see. Hey Wilma, hey Alfie. Hey, Miss Parker. Hey, Miss Banks. How you doing? I agree. Full payment upfront. Yeah, Unicorn. That's just how I do it. I will tell you this. Some people get upset. They'll say, "Oh, what do you mean full payment? Well, I'll give you half." Well, this is really what I say. I say, when you go on Etsy or you go online and you buy something from Macy's or something like that, you pay up front in full, right? You don't say, hey, I want this personalized. Let me just give you half. I'll give you half money now and give you the other half later. We don't do that. So, I'm not going to do that either. So I just look at it as I'm telling you up front, this is how much it's going to cost and 100%, and that's it. That's how it is. And I keep you involved throughout the whole process. So that's just how I do it. I do not do half or anything like that. Um, you don't want to leave room for issues. I don't like issues. And this is the other thing too. I'm very blunt when it comes to situations. All right, that people at my job know me for that. If I feel some kind of way, I'll just come out and say it. You know, it's like I'll be in a meeting, and if I feel somebody's trying to sell me the horse, the moon, and the stars, I'll let them know. I just tell them, this sounds a little bit like BS to me. So I'm just very blunt, and I'm just one of those that if I feel like you're gonna be a problem, I'm just like, I don't think I'm the right person for you. That's basically what I just say. And I just say, I don't want to do the job. And that is one of the things that I kind of like about having my own business is I get to pick my work. Okay. If it's something that I want to do and it's challenging, then I do it. If I find that the customer is going to be very difficult, or there's going to be problems and stuff, you can sometimes feel it. Turn it down. Because the way I look at it is sometimes it's not all about the money. You got to remember why you're doing what you're doing. You're doing it because you love it. You do it because you enjoy it. Okay. Why would you take a job for you to be upset about? Like for instance, the baseball hat. Let me tell you, I'll never again. Okay, even though it came out well, but I think I lost 10 pounds in that 45 minutes that I was in front of that sewing machine because I was sweating and the stress. It wasn't enjoyable at all. Even though, thank goodness, it came out good, and I saw that my neighbor was so happy with his hat and everything, and that was, that made me feel good that I was able to do that for him. But at the same time, I felt like I aged 50 years just sitting in front of that machine, making sure that there was no snags and it came out perfect. So, to me, it's like I will, even though it meant a lot, but to me, it's about me enjoying what I do and me feeling good about it. I want that feeling. That's important to me. So if I feel like something's going to be stressful, I won't do it. I just won't take it. So that's just how I feel about it. Um, do you factor contingency? I don't know what you mean by that, Neil Point. Um, the contingency. I guess I think I need you to elaborate a little more on that. I get all the upfront before I start too. Oh yeah, AD Springs. I do the same thing. No money, the machine doesn't turn on. I just don't turn it on if I don't have the money. That's just it. And I'm not talking about 50%. I'm not talking about 75. I'm talking about 100. So and I make it very, very clear and stuff. Can you please share where you purchase your dinner napkins? I do purchase them from Amazon. If you look on my Amazon storefront, I do have the link there. I have like a little section where it says the blanks that I purchased. That's exactly the brand that I use. I like that brand because that brand is, you can use 40 weight thread on that, and it's not very thin and it's not too thick. It's a perfect weight. I love the fabric. It's perfect weight. And what I usually do is I just iron it, and then I put the stabilizer on it. I hoop it, and then I do my embroidery. And what I like about those dinner napkins, Joni, is that they come in so many different colors. They have the ivory, the white. They have olive, they have red, they have black. I mean, they have so many different colors, and I just love the texture of that napkin. So, but if you look on my Amazon storefront, and it'll be on the video description link. Look on there, and you'll see that, and you'll see the ones that I use and stuff. Hey, Wilma, I still have custom orders from before pandemic. Their excuse is COVID, this, COVID, that. The I hope custom orders from. Okay, well, to me, I don't have a order unless I have my full payment. That's just how I do it. I mean, it's like, I think too, I even had like somebody approach me, they were like, hey, because somebody had asked me to do something, and I was like, okay, yeah, I can do that and stuff. And I sent invoice, and they were like, oh, did you do it? And I'm like, yeah, I sent the invoice. When the invoice gets paid, that's when I'll do it. I mean, that's just, you'd be surprised. You'd be surprised. Yeah, Iris. Let me see. Hey, Shirley, how are you? I bought napkins on Tuesday morning, but I did get from Amazon as well. Yeah, I always get my napkins from the Amazon, and I kind of like it because it's like I just get to order it. I do have a lot of the ivory and the black and the white in stock at home. Okay, so I usually buy those because those seem to be the most popular colors when it comes to gym napkins, and I always have them stacked up at home. Now, I did get an order for, I think it was the gray, which those came out really nice. But when they ask for a color like that, that's kind of like, pretty different. Those I kind of like, oh, then I'll order them. Excuse me. And then when they come in, then I'll go ahead and I'll order. So that's usually how I do with some of them. Figuring shipping is an issue for me. I don't want to overcharge for shipping. What you could do, AD String, here's an idea. Sometimes they have the flat rate shipping. Okay, they have those boxes where they have like the medium, the large, and the small, right? Think about what it is that you have, and if it can fit in one of those boxes, right off the bat how much it's going to cost for the shipping. So that way you're not overcharging or undercharging. And a lot of times when you do the flat rate shipping, I believe those ship to the person about like 2 or 3 days, something like that. It's kind of like a priority shipping kind of thing. So, you may want to take a look at that. And those boxes are free too, by the way. If you go to the post office and you tell them, hey, do you have flat rate shipping boxes? They'll point you to where the little cubes are, where they have them, and then you get to see the boxes there and everything. Okay, so that might help you a little bit and stuff. So after I was in Walmart and I grabbed bar for less, so check them, make your choice. Okay, he was not worried about you working on. Neil had no, he was not worried, but I tell you what, I was a mess. Okay. My husband was laughing at me because he was like, why don't you just say no? And I'm like, he wouldn't let me say no. So it was a mess. But and I see him wear it once in a while, and he loves that hat. He really does. Charge accordingly. Yes, ma'am. Make sure you do that. Do you factor in your time, equipment wear and tear, as well as the needles, the threads, the needles, etc.? Not so much the wear and tear of the equipment, okay? This is usually what I'll do. I will price myself, right? Like I'll come and say, okay, I'm working for, I don't know, I'll say $30 an hour, okay? And then I will look at a project and say, all right, this project is going to take about a half hour or let's say an hour to stitch out. So what I will do is I take my time and I put that in there. And then I did a price sheet, And on the price sheet, what I did was I kind of put down how much would it cost for a stabilizer and all that kind of stuff. Now, the way that I do that is, when you buy a pack of stabilizers, sometimes you have like 100 sheets, and it costs you, let's say, $19, right? So that means that each of those sheets probably costs you about 19 cents, right? So I have a price sheet of how much every type of stabilizer costs per sheet. And then I also, I don't really do some people do $1 per 1,000 stitches. I kind of, in a way, sometimes I do that. I do look at the stitch amount, okay, but I do it more by the stitch time. All right. If something, takes about when I put it in the machine, right? The machine kind of tells me if something is going to be about a half hour to 40 minutes to stitch. That's really what I use to price my stuff. Not really the amount of stitches, but the time that it takes for it to actually stitch. That's usually what I do. The wear and tear on the equipment, I don't exactly put it in there. But the needles I don't either, because needles, you gotta have needles anyway, and needles, I mean, you're talking about pennies and stuff. Even though, think about it, I mean, stabilizer can be kind of pennies, but I kind of just add all the stuff together. But it's mostly the stabilizers that I add in there, the time, and the cost of digitizing, the cost of my time is what I usually put into the price. A lot of times too is sometimes when you add all that up, it can get up there, and then sometimes I'll look at it and maybe I'll try to round it off, and I'll round it off a little bit to the left side to just make it as more affordable for the customer and stuff. But like I said, a lot of times you just have to really think about, the complexity of the work. If I find that it's something that's very, it has a lot of color changes, it's going to be in that machine for a very long time. I let them know up front this is going to cost. Okay, but if I see that it's something like a logo that they want on the shirt, and is I can do it on both machines, and it'll up the time, then I kind of try to price it at least a little reasonable and stuff. But that's usually what I do. I mean, to me, needlepoint, I mean, I look at it as just make sure that you're pricing your stuff at a price where you're comfortable. Okay, because to me, it's really about what you want, and I look at it as, from my perspective, is I want it to be as affordable for the customer, but at the same time, I don't want to feel like I'm being robbed. You know, I don't need to be rich off of the person, but at the same time, I just want to be. I want it to be fair. That's really, to me. I want it to be fair to them and fair to me. That's just how I look at it. And because I know that I price myself where it's like could be a win-win situation for both people. And this is the other thing too. Think about repeat customers. Okay, if you way overcharge people, they're gonna the chances of them coming back is probably going to be slim, because they're going to be like, she's good, but damn, I almost lost my house on that one. But if you're fair, okay, and when you have that conversation with them, break down the price and let them know why you're pricing something at a certain amount, okay. A lot of times people don't know embroidery, and they don't know all of the details and everything that's involved, okay. When you have that discussion with the person, and you explain everything, a lot of times they'll be more comfortable with that price, okay, and they don't feel like you're taking advantage of them, and at the same time, you just explain, it's about fairness for everybody. And a lot of times when it's broken down that way, they're okay with that. And what ends up happening is, a lot of times I get a lot of repeat customers because they know that I'm fair. Okay. Like I posted a video, I think it was yesterday I posted it about me embroidering ties. Okay. That came from a customer. She's a repeat customer of mine. She always comes to me with different things, and she knows I'm gonna be I price fairly. I'm not there to break the bank. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, that's just how I kind of deal with it. That's why when people say, how should I price my items? There's so many ways that you can look at that. And but at the end of the day, it's kind of like the answer, which probably a lot of people won't like that I say, is it's kind of like when you ask me what is the best embroidery machine. There's so many different machines out there, so many different brands. It's about you doing the homework and doing what's comfortable for you and your business. Okay. Sometimes some people, have different reasons, for why they do what they do. Okay. Me personally, I do this because I like doing it, and I do like, I do need, not that I need. Well, I use the money that I get from, my affiliated links, my YouTube channel, and everything to help um, pay for my son's dorm. Okay, because college is already paid for, and he wants to go into the medical field, and I want to support that because I don't want my son having student loans and all that kind of stuff. So I do all this stuff on the side, and every time I get a check from it or whatever, I put that in the account for his school and all that kind of stuff. Some people do this for a living. This is their rice and beans. Okay, this is their ajo y habichuela, right? So they use this to pay their bills, their mortgage, and all that kind of stuff. So pricing has to be real more serious for them. Okay, so they may end up being priced at the high end, but also know too that when you're pricing at that high end, you got to deliver at that high end too. So it's everybody's situation is different. So you just got to really look at yourself and your situation, and make sure that when you're pricing things, that you're getting something that you're comfortable with. You know what I'm saying? And that you're not giving away your skills. Okay. So I hope, I know I said a mouthful on that, so I hope I helped out and stuff. Oh my goodness, I think I lost. Okay, so let me see. Crafty Puerto Rico. I've been working on 24 personalized handkerchiefs for a customer all day, each one of them with a different name. Of course, the customer wants the same font. Haven't priced her yet. Oh, Juanita. Oh, okay. Well, I hope things go okay. Because see, this is the thing. This is the thing. Okay, look, think about it. You've been doing this all day. That means, and I don't know about you, but I have been since 6 o'clock in the morning. I've had both these machines running, and I'm gonna tell you something. You get a headache and all that stuff, so it's just like, oh, it's a breather. You know what I mean? So, and I'm gonna be honest. This conversation with you guys, I feel like, it's a little downtime for me. Okay, so I can only imagine how you are feeling. But the thing is too is I just hope that when it comes to the situation where you tell her how much it's gonna cost, that it's like, I hope she doesn't like, try to, go, oh, how much? That's too much. That's why in the future I highly recommend, look at it and don't get the price right away. Think about it. Tell them 2 days, because that's what I do. Oh, give me 2 days. That way, I can tell you exactly what's going to cost. And at the same time, when you tell them the cost, you can explain why the cost is at that price. All that's involved and everything. So, girl, push on. Hey Susan, hey Deidre. You are putting your PMP skills to work. Oh, program management. PMP, that's my husband. He got his PMP certification. I am. So, hey Susan, hey Eve. Love your show. Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. I will try again. Thank you. Okay. Yes. Awesome. And reach out to me too if you have issues and stuff. Um, hey, Trisha. And once again, thank you for the super chat, Trisha. I appreciate that. If someone bought 2 hand towels, 2 hanging towels, a barber cap to embroider Greek freaks, will you charge the person? I'm a newbie at new. Okay. They bought 2 hand towels, 2 hanging towels, and a barber cap to embroider Greek fraternity levels. All right. First of all, how many stitches are in each of those fraternity levels? The letters are, and these are the questions you gotta ask. I would ask myself. Okay, first of all, the hand towels, the cap, and all that stuff. I want to know: are you going to have to create an individual file for each of those items, or, and this is why I say, Lisa, that you have to think about it. Okay, they already told you what they want, right? However, though, you have different products that you're looking at. So is that one file that you can come up with, is that file going to be something that you can stitch on those hand towels, on the hanging towels, and on the cape, the barber cape, okay? Or are you going to have to adjust the size, okay? Then also, hand towels, hanging towels, the barber cape, are you going to be able to use the same type of stabilizer? How long is each of these items going to take to embroider? Okay, so you have to think of all of that and then run those numbers. All right, and then also think about your time. And if they bought those items to you also, okay, which means that you're not buying the product, right? So all you're doing is you're providing them the service. So how much I would look to see how much time is it going to take you to embroider each of these particular items, and then how much do you want to get paid for your time? Do you want to get paid $40 an hour for your time, or $30 an hour for your time, stuff like that? Remember, minimum wage is $15, so you want to go above minimum wage, right? Think about the stabilizers you're going to have to use, because even though they bought you that stuff, you still have to provide the stabilizer. Factor that into the price, and also factor in your time. And then that will give you how much you should be charging for that. Okay. And look who showed up. Hello, Mello. How are you? I guess he's trying to tell me my hour is up. Oh, thank you, Needlepoint. I appreciate that and stuff. Yes, Needlepoint. Yes, honey. Yes, I know. Mello's here to say hi. Say hi. Okay. This is my little golden doodle. Even though you're not so little anymore. Let's see, what else do we have there? Okay, so Lisa, I hope that helped. We're supposed to get rain on Sunday to Thursday. Northern California needs it. Hope you're all staying warm and healthy. Hey, Susan. How you doing? Well, we were supposed to get snow, and I didn't get anything, so hoping. Like we said, no hair on my tongue. Hey, Ivana, how are you? Add up and down to the cover an unknown variable. Oh, it's like, okay. I still don't know what you're saying. Oh, for any type of complications, I guess. I don't think I do that, because the thing is, I factor in the time. So if there's any type of complications, it goes in there. But let me see. I kind of eat up the cost, actually, Needlepoint, if there is a complication and stuff. That's how I usually do it. Trisha, I was at your Etsy shop this week, Jeanette, and your work is absolutely. Oh, thank you, Trisha. I appreciate that. And so I love doing the kitchen towels and the dinner napkins. And I am going to come up with new designs for this coming year. So I am working on that. How do you do taxes for your Etsy shop? Okay. Taxes for the Etsy shop. Usually Etsy, what they do is they collect the taxes, okay, for your sales tax. So I don't have to worry about that, okay? However, though, when you do your taxes, that is when you will be paying taxes on the money that you profit, okay? Because Etsy has how much you earned, but then you also have to subtract your fees, your shipping, and all that kind of stuff. So that's something you got to work out with your accountant, okay? Whenever you do your taxes. What do you use for invoicing? I like to use QuickBooks. And I like QuickBooks because that's where I also get to track all my expenses. So whenever I buy embroidery thread or I buy anything from Amazon that I use for the business, I always make sure that I put those transactions into QuickBooks. That way, when I meet with my accountant at the end of the year, to do my taxes and stuff, I can pull out the reports and I can tell them exactly how much I spent on, for my machines, how much I spent on needles, how much I spent on thread, stabilizers, materials and stuff like that. I also keep track of how much mileage, because I actually drive to the post office every day to deliver my packages because one day I was doing the mailman come and pick up the packages for you. But what happened was one day they didn't come, or they came, but they never got the packages. So to make sure that my packages go out, I go. So every day at like 4 o'clock, I get in my car and I drive straight to the post office and I deliver my own packages to make sure that they are there. So that's usually what I do and stuff like that. Hey Trisha, I was a few minutes late, but how did you find a reputable digitizer? I was looking for one to work with logos on my son's shirts. Hey Trisha, the guy that I usually use, he is in our Facebook group. Okay, there are two people that I usually use, and the way I found them was really word of mouth. There's one gentleman by the name of Sebastian that I use, and that was someone that was referred to me by another YouTuber. And then Fazil, I think you guys probably see him in our Facebook group. His name is Fazil, I think it's Muhammad, something like that. But he is somebody that I use, and I've been using him a lot lately, and he is really, really good. And I highly recommend him. So if you look in our Facebook group, and I believe you spell his first name is Faisal, Basel. His company's name is Focus something. I think it's Focus Digitizing, something like that. He is really, really good, and I do recommend him. He has done some fabulous work for me. He's actually the one that I am working with on the custom dinner napkins. And turnaround was great. Even when I went to him and asked him to modify the design a little bit, really fast turnaround. And he has done very fabulous work. So he's been somebody that I have been working with a lot. Hey Ozzy, I use Pirate Ship. It's much cheaper. I use that as time goes well. Price sheet, good idea. Oh yeah, price sheet is always have one. That way you know exactly how to do it. Where is my price sheet, by the way? I have one right here. This is mine. See? And this is where I list stabilizers, how much I charge for stitching, hooping, blanks, my embroidery file, shipping supplies. Think about your shipping supplies and stuff. Time to hoop, time to stitch, time to package. It's just a little sheet that I have, and it really does help to put together, add everything and just put it together. It really does help and stuff. Hey Buffer, good evening. Jeanette, question about hourly rate. What would an average hourly for jobs? 15, 16 is an hour isn't worth it to me. But I mean, that's usually how you want to do it. Okay. A lot of people have different, you decide. That's something that you personally have to decide. Me personally, my rate, I kind of always put like $40 an hour for me. And sometimes I'll even kind of knock it down a little bit because, like I said, a lot of times after I add everything up, I usually add everything up and then I have a certain price. And then I kind of think about it a little bit and then I go, okay, should I just lower it just a little bit, or because of the project being complicated or something, should I up the price a little bit? So that's really it's a really a personal thing. It's what you feel comfortable with. That's really what it's about. You have to really think about how much you want to earn. Okay. um See, I have to make at least $40, $50 an hour, otherwise it's just not much of a. Yeah, and that's what Ozzy, yeah. I usually start with $40 as the baseline. Now, if it's something that's like super complicated, then yeah, my I'm gonna go up a little bit, and stuff. Because a lot of times you just gotta look at the whole project and you make a decision. But to me, it's about like I was saying before, it's about being fair. Okay, it's about you want to give the customer a good price, but you don't want to feel like you did all this work for nothing, because that's not what this is about. You know what I'm saying? You want to feel good. You want to feel like you you know it's like you don't want to feel like you got cheated. You have a skill. You want to you should get paid for that skill. So that's just how I feel about it. So to me, the way I look at it is I want a win-win situation if possible for the customer and for myself. But if I feel that the price that I come up with, the customer wants to lowball me, then I just go, it's not going to work out. Because the thing is, I'm not going to give you a low price so that way I could feel like I got taken advantage of. That's just not worth it for me. And I have no problem letting a customer know and say, no, this is my price. I had that experience. I had a lady ask me for some shirts. And I told her it would be $50 a shirt. And it was 100 shirts, and I said, okay, so it would be 1,500. She said, well, I could get it for $12. I said, good for you. Well, go get it for $12. You go ahead. Because to me, I just looked at it like, I'm not going to do that. It's 100 shirts, and I only got 2 machines. You're probably going to be taking maybe a good whole weekend out of me, And even though her logo may not have been very complicated, I got to think about the process of hooping, the stabilizer, and all that kind of stuff. It just wasn't worth it, and I just don't like being lowballed like that. I just So to me, it was like a respect thing, and I was just like, this ain't gonna work out, because I was like, no, it's just not working for me. So that's just how I feel about it and stuff. Do you give discounts for large orders? It depends. eSpring, it just depends. If it is a order where it's a logo that it doesn't change, okay. All I have to do, and it depends if it's a small stitch or something like that. I will sometimes discount a little bit. But I will not discount to the fact where I'm making nothing. That's for sure. Okay. So, I mean, I don't have a problem with discounting very large orders, but like I said, it's about being fair. So that's just how I see about that. Thank you very much. That was very helpful. Oh, you're welcome, Needlepoint. Hey, Iris, Parish's million. Yep. Pirate Ship is really good. They do have good prices with their shipping and stuff. Hey Eve, how you doing? I hope your finger's doing a lot better and stuff. Where's Mello? Yeah. Oh, well, Mello is sleeping. Okay. And I expected him to be sleeping and stuff because I had a lot of orders that I had to finish today. So one of the things that I did was we have a Dogtopia by us. So I took him to Dogtopia so he could play with the other dogs. So I was hoping that he would come back really tired. And as you can see, it's a kind of work, you know. It was worth every penny. And he got to have a lot of fun too, you know, playing with the other dogs and stuff. Not every name looks good in the same font. That is right. Working on the design. That is right. Not every name. Now, another thing that you may want to try the Crafty Puerto Rican is sometimes what happens is you can have a font that looks really nice, but the first letter of that font looks a little funky, right? So usually what I'll do is I will change the first letter to another font. And that's kind of a little similar, but it's not the same, but it's similar enough that people won't notice. But you know, like for instance, let me see, like the letter J for Jeanette, right? In some fonts, the letter J looks real pretty, right? In other fonts, it's kind of tacky. So, you know, or the M, the letter M sometimes, you know. So you can switch fonts around, you know. I was thinking of doing a video on that because there were some folks that were also buying fonts because they were like, oh, I like these fonts because it has different colors. You don't have to buy brand new fonts for the different colors. You can actually change the color of every individual letter if you want. So I was thinking of just doing a video to show you guys how simple that is. That way you guys don't have to like go crazy buying all these different fonts, you know, because if you like the fonts that you're using, it's very easy to change certain things about them. So I think I'll do a video this weekend on that to show you guys how you can have fun with some of the fonts using Embroidery Essentials and stuff like that. Hey Mello. Oh, everybody's saying hi to you, Mello. And he's snoring. Hey Lisa, 32 minutes for hand towels, same file for everything. Then what I would do is the 21 minutes times every single item. You just got to do the math, Lisa. Just do the math. And like I said, at the end of the day, feel comfortable with what is. And price yourself. Price yourself, okay? Say, hey, you know, I'm worth $30 or $40 an hour, okay? And then however long it takes you to stitch all of that, add your time to that, okay? So, you know, and run those numbers and stuff. You have to feel appreciated. Yes, totally agree. You have to feel appreciated. And that's the whole thing. Ozzy, you got it. That was really my whole thing, is that, you know, it, first of all, you love what you do, right? You really do. You love it. And you want to feel rewarded, okay? You don't want to feel like you got taken advantage of. So that's why, to me, it's like when you're pricing it, you know, I always say it's really a personal thing. And every person's different, okay? Like I said, to some people, it's their rice and beans. To others, it's just little extra money that you just put away to the side, or sometimes some people will say, I just need to make enough money to cover the costs of this, right? Because some people use this as a hobby, and then they say, okay, well, you know, and it's expensive. This is expensive because you're buying thread, you're buying stabilizer, you're buying so many things. So, you know, when some people just want to price or make enough money so that way it covers the cost of all the stuff, right? But some people need more than just covering the cost of all this stuff. Some people actually want to put money in the bank. Like for me, you know, at first it was like, oh, I just need to cover my machine, or, you know, the cost of doing this, right? But then Cardito was like, okay, Mom, I'm going to go to VCU, and, you know, I want to go to medical school. So I was like, okay, so that's going to put a dent in my savings account. So to help me not put a debt in my savings account. That's why I said, okay, well, I better start getting, this better not be something I want to play with anymore. This better be something that I need to make this bring some little money over here, because that door costs a little money. And Carlito's in his first year at VCU, and even though he does tell me he wants to get a job, I told him I prefer he don't work his first year, because I want him to be situated. It's like, it's his first time away from home. I want him to get used to the environment. I want him to settle into school. And, I kind of told him your job is school. Okay, because that way when you graduate and you're done with medical school, you're out of my pocket full time, I don't, I want him to focus on that. So, I just told him, for now, don't worry about it. I got it. I'll take care of everything. I'll find a way. I just want him to focus on that. So, and that's just how it is. So anyway, guys, it is, well, I went half hour over, and I got this guy over here snoring, and I am pretty exhausted. I have been up since 6 this morning, working on orders. It is that time of year. I'm telling you, it's that time of year where it's like, everybody's ordering for Christmas. I will be shutting down the shop on the 15th, taking down all of my listings and stuff, so that I can prepare to go to Florida and spend some time with my family. And I will be doing the live, I believe, not this next Friday. I'll still be here, but the Friday after that, I'll do the live from Florida. And yeah, and I am I'm exhausted. I really am exhausted and stuff. And I'm running out of towels. Okay, I'm down to like 7 towels. And I went on Amazon, and Amazon is low on towels too. So I was just like, can't get any beige towels. So they're kind of like sold out. So I was just like, oh my God, okay. So now I can only offer white towels. But yeah, but I am pretty exhausted and stuff. So I am going to say good night for this evening. And if you guys like this video, please give it a thumbs up. And if you're new to my channel, please subscribe. And I do embroidery happy hour every Friday at 8 o'clock. And I'm always here to help and stuff. And Needlepoint, don't forget to join the Facebook group. I will look out for your entry, okay, so that I can accept it. And if you guys have questions or need help or anything, please, you can reach out to me on Facebook. You can send me an email and stuff like that. I'm here to help. I'll help out as much as I can. And like I said, do what you love. But make sure it feels good. That's what's important and stuff. Take care of you. All right, that's so important. And I really hope that you found the information that I shared tonight helpful and stuff, because my whole thing was kind of really bothered me when those two folks reached out to me this week, and they were so upset about what happened to them. And I really just want to make sure that everybody feels good, about what they do, why they do it, and feel appreciated. Okay, that's there's jerks out there. You're always gonna have a jerk. Don't let them take away your joy. That's really the bottom line to me. So enjoy what you do, be proud, and don't be afraid to put your worth out there. Okay, and stand, take that stand. Like I was saying, take that stand. I'm worth this, and this is how much I'm going to charge, and it is what it is. Okay. So anyway, guys, you guys have a great weekend. Please stay safe out there, and enjoy what you're doing. Like I said, and as always, if you need anything, just reach out. Okay. So you guys have a great one. Be safe. Bye.